Hi, I'm wearing my cute dress. What do you think? Isn't it cute? I love like how my shoulders look in this. Oftentimes I think my shoulders are like really big, but they look fine in this. What do you think? So actually this is kind of the topic that we're going to discuss today, which is body dysphoria. It's probably a topic we'll cover many, many times and something near and dear to every trans person's heart, or perhaps not so dear, right? How much do you hate having body dysphoria? Also, it's not a requirement to have body dysphoria, so if you don't, fantastic, you're so lucky. For me, my body dysphoria has evolved over time, and maybe I should talk about that in another video. But today, we got someone in the comments who asked, Jello asked, said basically, hey, I'm taking hormones and people are calling me a feminine gay man, and I feel like I can't come out at school, and also I feel dysphoria all the time, and how can I feel more feminine? So I'll make this a two-part series to answer the how can I be more feminine, but for this part we're going to talk about how to deal and manage and work with dysphoria, because unfortunately I don't think dysphoria is something that goes away magically for most people. Though I have heard stories where people just like suddenly all the dysphoria disappears. I think that these things, it's better to acknowledge that perhaps they won't leave, and then we can work with that. And then if they do leave, that's a bonus. But like thinking that we can cure and resolve every problem that we have sometimes creates friction in itself, because we don't accept what's there and what will not leave. Anxiety may never go away for me, but just knowing that it's there and acknowledging it gives me the ability to work with it in a non-violent way. And so I just want to bring that to the conversation right now, is to think of dysphoria as something that doesn't necessarily leave, and that it's something we can work with. Nothing to push out, but just to kind of embrace and bring in. It's a mindfulness practice, and you'll see this a lot in meditation and stuff to do with that kind of stuff. So that's the first thing that I would suggest, is kind of embracing it and understanding that it's just a part of the process. The second thing is knowing that your body can change. And if you're taking hormones and you just started taking hormones, Jello, things will start to evolve and your body will start to change, and you'll start to find some things that'll be way more validating as time goes on, which is fantastic. And maybe that'll alleviate a lot of your pain. If you're starting out in high school, then you're starting really young. You're starting a lot younger than I am, and that means you're going to get really great results. A few years from now, you might just completely pass, and then, this whole problem is over, and I'm super jealous for you. But time, patience, like working through that, knowing that things will change, knowing that your body's going to change as you start taking hormones is also going to be really helpful. Now, there's some things that may not change that you may want to change, and that's also totally fine. Working with my dysphoria has also been like, well, you know what? There's some things that I just want to change, and I don't want to just accept and keep it as something that's just a part of my reality that I have to keep accepting. I just want to get rid of it. So a few things for me is I want to get FFS, and I want to, adjust my forehead and do a few little things. I'm not going to do anything major. And my shoulder bones and my hips, these things will not change, unfortunately. Like, I've actually thought about it, like, could you saw the collarbone here and then shorten it? Or how do you, unfortunately I can't really get the hips to get any wider. So I'm just thinking about what I could potentially do, whether that's a fat transplant or something else. Yeah, and so knowing that you can change some things can also help you work through that. Knowing that I have a scheduled appointment in January makes me feel a lot happier, knowing that what I see in the mirror is going to be reworked a bit, and I'm going to be able to level up what I have, which is, I feel pretty blessed to have what I have. But I think for me and my dysphoria, it's kind of like I see the man in the mirror and I don't know if he's going to go away. So I would like to do what I can to kind of change that. And that gives me alleviation of some of my dysphoria. And let me see here. I think another thing is just how you look at yourself. This is probably the biggest thing that I started to learn was when I look at myself, I am instantly comparing myself to this ideal feminine physique and this body that I think exists, and then instantly projecting that onto the shape of my body and then not seeing it, and that's what creates the conflict. And that's like a breakdown that happens in a split second. And I want to like bring awareness to this because I think some people aren't aware that your brain has built maybe some neural connections that are going to string together all of these parts of the story of I'm trans, here's the expected body shape that I have of the gender that I believe I am. For example, I'm a woman, this is how I see things as the best body. I expect that I should have this body, and when I see this not on my body, that means that I have dysphoria and I shouldn't have that and I have a bad body. So that's like a string of little stories that kind of get weaved together into an instant moment where it just goes bang when you look at yourself in the mirror or you look down at your body. And that process is really important to be aware of, because once you can ask the whys and kind of go up the string of this story that you have, that you don't even know is a story because it's so tightly twisted together, it just looks like a firing neuron in your brain. Once you can start to unwind that, you can start to deconstruct it and start to say, oh, okay, well, this is my expectation of a body, and I can see myself projecting that image onto this body, and now I can actually uncouple that and say, you know what? I don't have the perfect female physique that I expect, but also that physique is something most women don't have. I selectively look and compare at only certain women that do have that physique, and I ignore the ones that don't have that physique. My physique is my physique, and I have small hips and I have wide shoulders. And there are other women, cis women, that also have that body type. So for me to say, you know what, I don't have this hourglass figure, it means I'm failing at having a woman's body. That's not exactly true. And understanding that kind of thinking can also help you work with it. Now, I also know this, but that doesn't stop me from wanting to have wider hips and smaller shoulders. I just know I can't change my shoulders or my hips. So I'm just working with that, just saying, all right, that's what I'm feeling today and that's fine. But I also know that I have a valid woman's body and that's all that matters. So I hope those are some of the tips that I can offer you. And I would love to hear from you guys about some tips that you have about working with your dysphoria and what alleviates it, because I'm sure Jello and some of you else all out there might find really interesting and helpful. This is going to be a 2-part series. I'll cover the next part about feeling feminine in the next video. Great to see you today, as usual. And if you're new here, leave a comment below. I'd love to see you. Okay, bye.